When determining the 10-foot distance requirement specified in the 2008 National Electrical Code Section 608.8 for hot tub electrical cable clearances, it's important to understand that the code itself does not explicitly define the method of measurement. This ambiguity leaves the interpretation to the local authority having jurisdiction, which is typically the electrical inspector or building department in Portage, Indiana. Because the code lacks a specific measurement method, various interpretations have emerged. Firstly, one common and conservative interpretation involves measuring from the point where the cable, if it were to fall, would make contact with the ground. This approach provides an extra margin of safety by ensuring that even in the event of a cable detachment or failure, the cable will not pose a shock hazard to individuals in or around the hot tub. It's considered conservative because it accounts for the worst-case scenario, a complete cable drop. Secondly, another interpretation considers the actual distance with the cable already positioned 10 feet in the air relative to the hot tub's location. This method focuses on the cable's operational height and assumes that the cable is properly secured and installed. While less conservative than the previous interpretation, it's still considered safe if the installation adheres to standard electrical practices and utilizes appropriate securing mechanisms. Thirdly, some authorities might consider measuring the 10-foot distance from the edge of the hot tub itself, regardless of the cable's height or potential fall path. This interpretation is the least conservative of the three and relies heavily on the assumption that the cable is adequately secured and protected from damage. It's crucial to recognize that this method might not provide sufficient safety margin in all circumstances. The correct interpretation depends on the specific requirements enforced by the local authority in Portage, Indiana. To ensure compliance and avoid potential safety hazards, it is imperative to contact the local electrical inspector or building department for clarification. They can provide specific guidance on how the 10-foot distance should be measured in your particular situation. This consultation will help ensure that your deck extension project meets all applicable electrical code requirements and prioritizes safety. Understanding the principles behind these different interpretations can also aid in discussions with the local authority. The goal is to achieve a safe and code-compliant installation that minimizes the risk of electrical hazards around the hot tub area. Remember that electrical codes are designed to protect individuals from potential shock hazards and to prevent electrical fires. Adhering to these codes diligently is essential for ensuring the safety of yourself, your family, and others who may use the hot tub. When discussing the cable clearance with the local authority, it's helpful to provide details about the type of cable being used, the method of securing the cable, and the overall layout of the electrical installation. This information will allow the inspector to make an informed decision about the appropriate measurement method and to assess the overall safety of the installation. In addition to the 10-foot clearance requirement, other relevant electrical codes may apply to hot tub installations. These codes may address grounding requirements, the use of ground fault circuit interrupters, GFCIs, and the proper wiring methods for outdoor locations. Consulting with a qualified electrician is highly recommended to ensure that all aspects of the electrical installation comply with applicable codes and regulations. A licensed electrician will have the expertise to properly size the wiring, install the necessary safety devices, and ensure that the installation is grounded correctly. They can also help you navigate the complexities of the electrical code and obtain the necessary permits for your project. If you are extending your deck, you should consider the placement of any electrical outlets or other electrical equipment in relation to the hot tub. The electrical code may specify minimum distances between these items in the hot tub to prevent accidental contact with water. It's also important to consider the potential for water splashing or spraying from the hot tub and to ensure that any electrical equipment in the vicinity is adequately protected from moisture. Using waterproof or weather-resistant enclosures for electrical outlets and other equipment can help prevent corrosion and electrical hazards. Maintaining a clear and unobstructed path around the hot tub is also important for safety. Avoid placing any objects that could obstruct access to the hot tub or that could create a tripping hazard. Proper lighting around the hot tub can also enhance safety, especially at night. Install sufficient lighting to illuminate the area around the hot tub and to allow users to see clearly. Consider using low-voltage lighting fixtures to minimize the risk of electrical shock. Regularly inspect the electrical equipment associated with the hot tub for any signs of damage or wear. Check the wiring for frayed insulation, loose connections, or corrosion. If you notice any problems, have them repaired immediately by a qualified electrician. Never attempt to repair electrical equipment yourself unless you are properly trained and qualified to do so. Working with electricity can be dangerous, and it's always best to leave electrical repairs to the professionals. If you are planning to install a new hot tub or to make significant changes to an existing installation, it's important to obtain the necessary permits from your local building department. The permitting process ensures that the installation meets all applicable codes and regulations and that it is inspected by a qualified inspector. Obtaining permits can also help protect you from liability in the event of an accident or injury. Remember, the goal of electrical codes is to protect individuals from potential hazards. By understanding and adhering to these codes diligently, you can ensure the safety of yourself, your family, and others who may use your hot tub. Always consult with a qualified electrician in your local authority to ensure that your installation complies with all applicable requirements. Regarding the types of cable that can be used, local codes will prevail, but some general guidelines exist. For example, underground feeder off cable is often used for direct burial applications. When running cable through conduit, the specific type of wire allowed within the conduit will be defined by the NEC. The 2008 NEC Article 310 addresses conductors for general wiring. You may find Table 310.16 or its equivalent in the 2008 NEC useful for determining the allowable ampacities of insulated conductors rated up to and including 2000 volts. This table bases ampacity and the temperature rating of the conductor and the ambient temperature of the environment. It's crucial to select the appropriate conductor size based on the load requirements of the hot tub and any other electrical equipment connected to the circuit. Overloading a circuit can lead to overheating, which is a major fire hazard. The NEC provides specific guidelines for calculating the load requirements of various types of electrical equipment. When working with electrical systems, always de-energize the circuit before making any connections or repairs. Use a voltage tester to verify that the circuit is de-energized before touching any wires or terminals. Wear appropriate personal protective equipment, PPE, such as insulated gloves and safety glasses to protect yourself from electrical shock and other hazards. Be aware of the potential for arc flash, which is a dangerous explosion of electrical energy that can occur when working with high voltage circuits. Arc flash can cause severe burns, blindness, and even death. Take precautions to minimize the risk of arc flash, such as wearing arc-rated clothing and using insulated tools. If you are not comfortable working with electricity, it's best to hire a qualified electrician to perform the work for you. Electrical work can be dangerous, and it's always better to err on the side of caution. Remember that electrical codes are constantly evolving, so it's important to stay up to date on the latest requirements. The NEC is revised every 3 years, and local codes may also be updated periodically. Subscribe to industry publications and attend training courses to stay informed about the latest changes in the electrical code. By staying informed and following best practices, you can help ensure the safety and reliability of your electrical system. Another point to consider: if the hot tub is near a swimming pool, additional codes may apply. The NEC has specific requirements for the bonding and grounding of metallic parts near swimming pools to minimize the risk of electric shock. These requirements are intended to create an equipotential plane around the pool, which helps to equalize the voltage potential between different metallic objects. When extending the deck around the hot tub, consider the impact on drainage and water runoff. Ensure that the deck is sloped away from the hot tub to prevent water from pooling around the base of the hot tub. Pooling water can create a slip hazard and can also contribute to corrosion of the hot tub's components. Consider using a deck material that is slip resistant, especially in wet conditions. This will help to prevent accidents and injuries. Regular maintenance of the deck is also important for safety. Inspect the deck for any signs of damage, such as loose boards, splinters, or cracks. Repair any damage promptly to prevent accidents. Keep the deck clean and free of debris to prevent slips and falls. How washing the deck periodically can help to remove dirt, algae, and other contaminants. The specific type of deck material you choose will depend on your budget, aesthetic preferences, and the climate in your area. Some common deck materials include wood, composite decking, and vinyl decking. Each material has its own advantages and disadvantages in terms of cost, durability, maintenance requirements, and appearance. Wood decks are typically the most affordable option, but they require regular maintenance to prevent rot and decay. Composite decking is more expensive than wood, but it is more durable and requires less maintenance. Vinyl decking is the most expensive option, but it is virtually maintenance-free and is highly resistant to weathering and insect damage. When choosing a deck material, consider the long-term cost of ownership, including the cost of maintenance and repairs. Also, consider the environmental impact of the material. Some deck materials are made from recycled materials, which can help to reduce your carbon footprint. No matter what type of deck material you choose, it is important to install it properly. Follow the manufacturer's instructions carefully and ensure that the deck is properly supported and secured. If you are not comfortable installing the deck yourself, hire a qualified contractor to do the work for you. The National Electrical Code Section 680 covers electrical installations at swimming pools, fountains, and similar locations. While Section 608 specifically addresses spas and hot tubs, there may be overlap depending on the specific installation and local interpretations. For instance, equipotential bonding requirements outlined in 680.26 are crucial for minimizing voltage gradients in and around the water, preventing electric shock hazards. Bonding connects metallic parts like the hot tub's pump motor, metal conduit, and any nearby metal fences or structures to a common grounding system. This ensures that if a fault occurs, the voltage potential between these objects remains low, reducing the risk of shock to anyone in or near the water. Ground fault circuit interrupters, GFCIs, are another critical safety component. The NEC mandates GFCI protection for receptacles and equipment serving hot tubs. GFCIs detect even small leakage currents to ground and quickly de-energize the circuit, preventing potentially fatal shocks. GFCI protection should be provided for all 120-volt and 240-volt circuits supplying the hot tub equipment. When planning the electrical layout, consider the placement of underwater lighting. NEC Section 680.23 details requirements for underwater luminaires, including maximum voltage limits and proper grounding and bonding. Underwater lights must be specifically listed for underwater use and installed according to the manufacturer's instructions. Proper sealing and maintenance are essential to prevent water from entering the light fixture and creating a shock hazard. Regular inspections of all electrical equipment associated with the hot tub are crucial. Look for signs of damage, such as cracked or frayed wiring, corroded connections, and malfunctioning GFCIs. Test GFCIs monthly by pressing the test button to ensure they are functioning correctly. Replace any damaged or malfunctioning equipment immediately to prevent potential hazards. The location of the disconnecting means is also important. The NEC requires a readily accessible disconnecting means to be located within sight of the hot tub, but not closer than 5 feet. This allows for quick and easy de-energization of the hot tub in case of an emergency. The disconnecting means can be a circuit breaker or a switch, and it must be clearly labeled to indicate its purpose. Furthermore, the wiring methods employed must comply with NEC requirements for wet locations. This typically involves using listed waterproof or weather-resistant conduit and fittings to protect the wiring from moisture and corrosion. Direct burial cables must be specifically listed for direct burial use and installed to the proper depth. The proper selection and installation of wiring methods are essential for ensuring the long-term reliability and safety of the electrical installation. When making any electrical connections, use approved connectors in terminals. Ensure that all connections are tight and secure to prevent overheating and arcing. Use a torque wrench to tighten connections to the manufacturer's specified torque value. Proper connections are essential for preventing loose connections, which can lead to electrical fires. Keep in mind that this information is for general guidance only and should not be considered a substitute for professional advice. Always consult with a qualified electrician and your local authority to ensure that your hot tub installation complies with all applicable codes and regulations.